with a deer habitat. All right, so I got these little deer. It's a set of 3, and I got those at a store called Dirt Cheap. This is a piece of wood that my son cut for me on a little wood hunting trip that we went on in the summertime. Be sure when you get these pieces that you get all the stuff out. Use vacuum cleaner, use brushes, use whatever. Mine's been outside in the garage. It's dried, it's bug-free. We're going to use any type of leftover greenery that you have from Christmas, or if you have some winter decor pieces, little pieces that you've cut off, you can use those. You can use plastic branches. You can use something out of the yard. These are some that I recycled from something else that I had. I just pulled them all out. I'm going to take this piece, and this is from Temu, but you use whatever you have. You can get stuff right out of the yard. Like I said, make sure it's bug-free first. What I love about this is this little piece of wood happens to have cracks all in it, and it looks to me like a hill or like rock. So I'm going to take advantage of all those little nooks and crannies, and that's where we're going to tuck all of our little pieces of greenery. Why fight it? We're going to go with the shape of it, and we're just going to make it work. So I want this to appear in my head as if these deer are just out and about. They're just out and about in nature, doing their thing, enjoying the frosty weather. Now, these are not going to be like winter wonderland type things in the south, and that's kind of what I'm going with in this particular winter video. Things you don't always get snow. You rarely really get snow, but you do get sleet and ice and frost. So that's kind of what I am trying to emulate here, like a winter in the south. Okay? And especially because my son lives in Louisiana, and we got these pieces, and then later on you'll see some pieces also that we got just around his house and in the town where he lives. So I'm going to continue to go in all those little cracks just like this and make those pieces look like they're trees. A lot of times on these little greenery branches that you get, there will be sections that look like maybe the tip of the top section will look like a tree itself. So that's what I'm using on those little pieces down there. I don't want anything to be too far out of scale. I like that these little thin branches actually look like trees that don't have any leaves on them, because in the woods you would have, well, in the south anyway, you would have evergreens amongst deciduous trees, so meaning they would shed their leaves seasonally. So that's what I kind of want to go with here, and that's what I'm doing. So this branch, this rubbery looking plastic branch that I use, just looks like a huge tree that has lost all of its greenery, and I love it. It gives it some height, and then putting those pieces out to the side broadens that out, makes it even wider. Then I'm going to show you in a minute what we can do to make this look, maybe give it a bit more dimension. And it was an afterthought, so I didn't show you the other piece in the beginning, but you'll see what I mean. You'll see what I mean. I kind of like to just go with the shape of whatever piece of wood I'm using. I've done lots of different crafts for different seasons and times with pieces of wood that I have just scavenged, I guess, or that had been given to me, or that I found in the creek, or I found in the woods, I found on nature walks, because they're so pretty to me, and there's so many options, right? And I love to have nature in my home, and I think a lot of people like to have that as well. So you could consider this rustic, or you could consider it woodland, whatever you want to consider it. But I hope that you like it enough to subscribe to my channel. I want to be sure that I put out valuable pieces for you, that I give you a lot of different kinds of information and inspiration on my channel, and you're always going to get lots and lots of encouragement from me, because I do believe in you and I believe in your abilities. And I know that if this is something I can do, this is definitely something that you can do. But the best piece of advice that I could give you is don't compare yourself to other people when it comes to your crafts. Just like you would find an outfit that looks really good on somebody else, and when you put it on, you just don't feel right. It doesn't feel right on you. But then you may find something that looks fabulous on you that would look terrible on someone else, or make them not feel glowy and happy, right? So it's individual. Okay, you understand that? That's what I want for you to learn when you come to my channel and you watch my videos. We don't have to do everything exactly alike, but it needs to bring us some personal joy, right? All right. So now I want to get an idea of where I want to put my little deer because I don't want to have so much greenery on here that I don't leave a place for my deer to be. I kind of had an idea where I wanted to put them, so I would leave enough space on there. But once you get those in there, then you can go back and add a little more greenery around them. So there happens to be a crack in the front of that log, and it almost looks like a path. Maybe he's walking up a path. But because it looks like his leg is floating over there, we're going to disguise it a little bit so it looks a little more realistic. Now I'm taking the baby or the fawn. He's got little spots on his back, and I'm going to put him in the trees because when mamas have babies, the babies are usually hidden in the trees and they go off and do their thing, the moms, and then they come back to their babies. So mom has left the baby safely out there in the a little stand of trees while she goes out and does her thing. Now, see, this is where I decided, okay, well, let's put one on the bottom. Well, we need a base for that. So I'm going to use another piece of wood that my son cut on the same trip when we were out with the chainsaw walking all over town and cut another little piece. It is a piece that would have been around, but it broke and it works anyway. So this piece was down by the river as well as the other piece, and it doesn't have any bark left on it. It's just bleached all out in the sun. I'm going to take a water bottle, and this has not been sanded or anything. It is rough just like it is. I'll take a water bottle and just sort of moisten it all around the edges. And then taking some antiquing wax on an old brush, I'm just going to scrub it into there. The water is going to make it a little easier for me to move it around since I'm not putting it on a smooth surface. And you could continue to add water, just spray water on it, and then spread that wax out. You could also use moss as a base. You could put some sand on there. You could put some of the rocks on the bottom of it. But I like the idea of it just looking like mud down there. Do whatever feels right to you, whatever you think would look good for your area. Now I'm going to dry it. Or you can set it aside and let it dry. It's totally up to you, but I don't want to be smearing that wax around onto all the rest of the pieces. Once it is reasonably dried, I'm going to take my Tite Bond, quick and thick, and I'm going to put some right on the space where I had already tested out where I wanted to put it. And I'm just going to put a good bit on there and then take this, what we're going to call our stone or our heel, and put it right on the tip of it. I'm going to try to make sure that it stays up on that round, not necessarily centered. It's kind of off-centered. And I'm going to wipe off any of the glue that's left on there. Pretty easy to do. Whatever brought you to my channel today, I want to remind you how much I appreciate you stopping by and spending time with me and, grabbing some information and making something that makes you happy. And creativity, I think, is a great way to express yourself. All right, so now I have some little pieces of scrap wood. I've got some rocks that I found when I'm out and about. My kids find little rocks and pieces too. And there's really no true way for me to display those unless I put them in a bowl somewhere. But you can use those little artifacts that you find when you're out and about, and you can put them in your creations that you make. Makes it unique, and it's got a couple little memories there too. So now I can put that other deer on the bottom. And now I'll go to the back of that little wood piece that we're calling our hill or our little mountain. And I am going to just start adding a couple of more pieces of greenery. Now, obviously, there's really no mountains that I'm aware of in Louisiana, but there are certainly hills here and there. So that's what I'm going for. Now I'm going to add different types of greenery in here. I'm going to try to concentrate the areas that have the frosted look toward the top and the areas that are less frosted toward the bottom, just because it kind of makes more sense that what's higher up might be a little bit cooler. In my head it works. Yeah, in my head it works. All right, so I'm going to continue around and, maybe make this look like it's a little step that the deer can climb up. and access the higher areas, although deer can definitely leap. So, just do what you want to do there. I'm going to add this piece right in that crack, and it's going to sort of be over that back leg. So it looks like he's actually walking on a path that you can't see that's tucked in there, rather than he's just hanging off the rocks. And doesn't that look better? Doesn't it look like he's standing on a path in there? I love all of the dimension in this piece. It's so cute. I love doing these pieces, and it's been so long since I've taken the time to do like a little habitat like this. And I really love doing these pieces. And if you would do me the favor of giving me a thumbs up and maybe commenting, do you like this type of decor when I make these things? I've gotten a lot of positive feedback, but like I said, it's been a while, and I really do like miniatures and dioramas and those sorts of things. But I can add more back to it if it is something that, more people want to see. You can certainly just go crazy with these things too. There's so many options. And then I'm going to add a piece on the bottom. And I'll make it like this. And this will be all we're going to do to this piece. Now, you could also use wood screws to connect your two pieces together, but if you give it time to dry, it's going to hold. You won't have to worry about that. So here's a better look at the piece. And yes, I've got a little hot glue I need to clean up in there. It'll pluck off easy because it's landed on that wax, so it'll be easy to remove. And then just as a reminder, be sure that you turn your pieces side to side and back and forth to make sure you don't have those types of little glue strings and pieces all over the place. I want you to try to make one of these. Go grab some of your kids' or grandkids' toys. Get some little woodland creatures and make you a piece like this and see how you like it. It's so much fun. And then you can take any rocks, shells, crystals that you have, any little special pieces that you found in the yard. Maybe you found some little wood pieces that you really like, or something that maybe has some meaning to you, and you can put them down in your bowl. I'm using like a little triangle pattern here, and then I'll add all the little pieces around those larger pieces. So I have a rock and two different types of evergreen cones, and then I'm just going to add these in. If you don't have these pieces, you can use fake stuff. You can use artificial greenery if you want to. Totally be fine. Or you could take a little bowl like this and use it for your jewelry. Maybe put your watch in there at nighttime. You could put your glasses, your TV remote, whatever you like in there. But I really like the idea of having that little bit of nature in the house. And I'll show you how it looks when you have it set up. Very easy, quick way to kind of update the look in your home and make it something that, that it's your own. The antler swag is going to be next. All right, we're going to use zip ties. These are about 12-inch zip ties. Some more of those branches. This is a little headband that is deer antlers, so they're plastic, like for Halloween or for Christmas, whatever. You see, they're plastic or rubber. I'm going to use this thrifted, beautiful pick that I found that has a little frost on it. You can see it already has some missing pieces. These I got in a package from Temu. They're really good as a filler, but don't really stand that well alone on themselves, by themselves. Two of the Christmas trees from Dollar Tree. These pop right off. I've seen people asking, what do you do with these pieces? Well, you chunk them. Just like that, you just throw them away. See, I'm going to show you one more time. There's a lot of skill. There you go. All right, now we're going to open these up. We're going to lay it flat on the table. This is just the easiest way that I do it, but you can do it any way you want. And we're going to spread everything out to the sides and flat. These branches kind of overlap each other, so just be sure you get all the way down to the metal pole in the middle and pull those out. You want to make sure that it is nice and thick as you can get it, because although this won't be the main center of attention in this project, it is definitely going to be an important part of it because it's going to be the base to the swag. And we want something sturdy, and we want something that is thick and gives us a lot of room to add our other pieces. Easy enough. And you can see how I moved them around back. Flip them over, make sure nothing's crossed over to the wrong side, just so that you get it fairly even on both sides. We're going to be connecting things, and we need to make sure we got a good broad base. Okay? So there you're going to do one just like this, and then you can move on into your next piece and do it. Okay? Now we're going to add this one, and we will double them up, turn them bottom to bottom, and stack them up. Now I'm going to use zip ties to put these together. I put one right on top of the other, but it is not necessary. You can lay them side by side, because when you put the zip tie on here, it's going to pull it kind of to the side. Totally up to you if you want to leave it that way. You're not going to see it, and there's not that much of a difference. The main thing is you want to make sure that your swag is straight from tip to tip. Try to make it straight. We want this to look high end, not sloppy, not crooked, not bent. And you can definitely do that. It just takes a minute, and just pay attention to where you put them, and it's going to be fine. If you don't want to use zip ties, you can use pipe cleaners. You can use floral wire, would probably be even better because it's going to hold it still. You can cut that tip off, or you can fold it under. Either way is good. And then I'm just going to make sure that everything is laying right before we add this piece. Now, this will be hanging long ways, but I'm going to show you how to do it sideways, just so you can get it all, so I can get it all in the camera, you know. I'm going to overlap this, then I'm going to go around the pretty piece and around the base piece. So the pipe or the pole that's in the middle, the metal pole, I'm going to go right under there. And I like to go between pieces of greenery so that it kind of disguises these zip ties a little better. You want to do this in several different places, and then I'm going to be sure that I fluff up that piece of greenery so that it kind of, you know, you don't want it to all be flat. So I'm going to sort of fluff it up all the way down. I'm leaving about 5 inches from one end because I'm going to be doing a bow up there, and I want to have room. If you don't want to use a bow, then you can pull your pieces of greenery further up to the top. It's already starting to have a pretty shape, and I like that. And then I'll take these little pieces, and these are on wire, and I'll start adding those here and there underneath and around the metal pieces that are already in there that we have created as the base. Twist them around in there, use another zip tie, whatever you need to do. When I put these in, I am going to try my best to kind of weave it in and out of the pieces that are already on there, because I want it to all look blended. I don't want anything to just poke out as, oh look, there's a single branch there that looks like nothing else. No, we want to mix them all together. And don't worry, I realize it's a little bit different of a color or a little bit different of a shade of green, but that is something that we are going to fix shortly. And of course, evergreens come in all different shades of green anyway. Some are more of a grayish blue tone, some are more of a bright green color. It just really depends on which pieces, you know, which tree that it comes from. But we will make it look, you know, we're going to put a little bit of frost on there. So don't worry, everything's going to blend. It's not going to be a piece with a little frost and a piece that doesn't have any on it. I want it to be, you know, as realistic as I can possibly make it. By the way, I want to say thank you to all of you who inquired about where the heck I was when I was supposed to have that new video out Friday. I'm just going to be honest with you and tell you that I totally forgot to do the voiceover. And it didn't even occur to me that it was too late. Way too late to do anything about it. Like, I was in the bed and it was after 10 o'clock. So it was, I'm telling y'all, this time of year and trying to do this, having the kids at home, it's trying. It's very trying. Totally worth it. And I've got to get myself on a better schedule so that I can get things prioritized a little bit better, because I don't want you to have to worry where I am. I want to be predictable, and you know where to find me and when to find me. I never intend to worry anybody when they don't hear from me. The winner of that package, I am promising you that I will be sending it out this week. I did not forget. Again, I was prioritizing. And I went to my sister's house Saturday, had a blast, but she's 3 hours away, so it's 3 hours there, 3 hours back, and then the time we spent there. So we got home very, very late yesterday. It's a thing, y'all. It's a thing, you know. So I'm continuing along here, putting things in, kind of weaving those in and out so they all look like one piece. I love adding those natural elements. I know I've said that in so many videos, but to me, it just makes it so much more wild and realistic. And if you've ever taken a walk in the woods, you rarely see in a natural wooded environment one tree standing by itself with nothing else there. In the spring and summertime, other trees try to grow in that same area. They poke up through those trees. You'll see the tall weeds that grow up around the trees that are close to the sun or on the edge of a field. And you'll have these branches that all the leaves fall off of, and you just have these little pieces of brown in all of that green. But do you see the difference that I'm talking about when you add the different shades of green, when you add all the natural elements to it? To me, it's just so much more realistic. I mean, I feel like, yeah, we're going to put a bow there. I feel like once this is hung on a door, you won't even realize that this is something that is artificial. But you can certainly do artificial if you want to. Yeah. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to cut this elastic band out of these. If you don't have these, then you don't have to worry about that. And I know that I'm going to be connecting these up here in this area, and the bow will be above it. And there are two little sort of slices in there. I'm going to go ahead and use those original openings to just put a little bit of floral wire through. I chose green. I do also have silver, but the green's going to help it blend a little bit better. I'm going to twist it around to secure it, and then I'll go right to that pole or that little trunk piece that is in there and attach it down to it. I'll do each one of these where there's some hanging off of both sides. And it almost gives this like a teardrop swag shape. You can, and I have done those swags where you stack two in the same direction to make them thicker, but they're thicker and shorter, and I wanted something long. So here are the ribbons that I've chosen. It's a sheer brown and then a piece that looks like birch that has, both of them have wire in them. But I thought it would be really pretty for this. All right. So I am going to make very, very simple bows for this. Very simple. I'm not even measuring this. There is the ruler for you so you can see. This is going to be one of the bows. Again, I don't really know where I'm going with these projects until I start doing them. You know, I just don't. Now I'm checking it to see if it's the size that I like, and it is great, so I'll just cut that off. I'll struggle, of course, very important part, and then I'll just put a little clip on there until I'm ready to put the bow together. Now we're going to add another layer of this sheer brown, and then we will add the white piece. This one I want to be a little bit wider. You can see how easy it is to make this. It's like a shoestring bow or a shoelace bow. I'm sure it's called other things as well. But you see how you can see both. This one's larger. So I think we have like a 9-inch, a 7-inch. We're going to use the clip to hold these two together. And then we will put the smallest ribbon on top. If you try to put a thinner ribbon underneath, you're going to sort of lose it in the bow. So for me, I just prefer to use the smaller pieces on the top, or kind of stack them, you know, like you would a pyramid. It's wider at the base and then gets more narrow at the top. So that's what I'm doing here. Now this birch colored ribbon is going to be a 5-inch loops on each side, or 5-inch loop total. And then I'm going to use one of these little, these come from Dollar Tree, these little wire branch pieces. And I'm just going to put them together here. Twist it in the back, and this is what's going to hold our bow together. You can fluff your bow out now because I do that, but you don't have to. You can wait. And I'm just going to dovetail the ends of all of the ribbon. For me, And this could be a tip for you too. If you're not really sure where you want the tails to go on your wreath, leave them a little bit long and then you can adjust it, okay? Just leave them a little long because you can't fix it once you've cut it. You'll have to start adding things and gluing and rewiring and, just leave them a little long. Then you can trim off and use those pieces for something else. I'm going to take these shear pieces and just make a couple of loops and weave those in and out of the greenery, all the little branches. Just sort of let them dance down through the greenery. And you can twist that into your greenery if you want to. If you want to use a little piece of pipe cleaner or wire to hold it, you can do that. Totally up to you. I'm not going to glue anything with my bows. I'm at this point anyway. I don't think I actually do glue anything. I'm fluffing out my bows, getting those little loops out there. Going to take that little piece and put that sort of toward the front and weave it through. I've had this particular brown ribbon for so long and hadn't used it for anything, and I thought this is going to be perfect for my little down home, I don't know, Louisiana winter. And now I'm just going to take that birch colored ribbon and kind of weave that through there. It's just another thing that has to do with the tree or bark, or nature. Like we've got the antlers on there, and we've got pine cones, and we've got branches and different types of evergreen, and the brown ribbon, which could represent bark as well, or leaves. Still a lot of leaves. I love the fall, and in the wintertime, the leaves don't go away unless you rake them up. They're still down there. I love how that ribbon is longer. Love it. I'm going to take some of my Mod Podge spray and a little bit of artificial snow. I'm going to take it outside, give it a couple of spritzes, not a lot, but a couple of spritzes, put it on there. We're going to take that hanger that we used to attach, the branch we used to attach the bow, and just going to make a hanger with that. Give it a good spray outside and then bring it back in so I can show you what it looks like when we get it hung up. So many options with all of these pieces. And moving into winter, we definitely need to be reflecting that in our decor. There's a gap there, between Christmas and spring. So something like this, I think, would last all the way through. Okay, we're going to start off with some of this. It's like a burlap ribbon with gold snowflakes on it. It's about 5 or 6 inches wide. I got another piece of sparkly burlap and then some deco mesh from Dollar Tree, an 18-inch wire wreath, some pipe cleaners. And first we're just going to go ahead and put this together, get this out of the way, then I'll show you what else we're going to use. We're going to start on the inner 2 rungs and go to each one of those little jointed pieces in the middle and just wrap it around 1 or 2 times to hold that in place. Now you might want to go ahead and jump over that little divider there just to make sure that your pieces don't slide back and forth. If you want to do that, now you can. If not, you can do it once you start placing your materials down. All the way around here. And that was easy enough, right? You might even have an 18-inch wreath that already has the pipe cleaners on it, and that's fine. You can use that. This will end up with 18 of these little pipe cleaners. So we're up to the top now, and in the center we're going to wrap those around those outside 2 pieces. And we're going to do that all the way around. You can use florist wire, you can use pipe cleaners, you can use really any color pipe cleaner because it's going to be hidden in the end. Whatever you have on hand, and it's Christmas, so I'm using up some of my Christmas materials here. This is my beautiful deer who will be added on here. It's just an ornament that I got at the thrift store. Okay, so we've got this deco mesh. You can find this in the Christmas and the fall section. And we're going to lay it right over the top of this ribbon underneath. Then I'm going to kind of bunch it up or kind of accordion pleat it in my hand Gonna hold it tightly and go down and find a place to start. I'm starting on the inside because I want that little tail to go inside of my wreath, so I just thought it would be easier to start on the inside section. I'm wrapping that around, and you can see how it slides away from it, and that's what I mean there. You'll want to wrap that pipe cleaner kind of around that center bar. If you do that, now it won't be pulled up or down. It'll stay right where you put it. Tuck your loose ends down. Then you're going to take a ruler and go down 8 inches and just begin to bunch this. I started off wanting to make 10-inch segments, but I didn't think I was going to have enough ribbon, and I was correct. So I went ahead and changed it, and what you're seeing is me doing little 8-inch poofs. I'm going to go back and forth all the way down. So here's 8 inches. I first went to the outside. Now I'm going to pleat it in my fingers, and we're going to go to the inside. Just making sure that I have it on tightly. So then you can see here we're on the inside. Don't worry about the gaps on the outside because those will be covered up. These wreaths always look a little gnarly before they look good, but just trust in the process. Go to the outside, do 8 inches, pleat it, and then go to the inside. You're just going to cross it over back and forth from the outside to the inside. We're going to zigzag back and forth. I'm going to leave this in so that you can see there, a couple of twists will hold it down. 8 more inches. Okay, now once we go all the way around the wreath and we're getting down to our original starting point, I'm going to measure my poof just like we did with the rest of it. Pinch those pieces together, and I'm going to cross over right on top of the original piece that I put down. So you can see here and here, I'm going to go right back on top of that first section that we put down and just wrap it tightly around. If you do not wrap these tightly enough, when you begin fluffing them and you're going to have to pull these segments apart, you'll pull them right out of the frame there, and you don't want to do that. So save yourself some time and just do it right the first time. A little extra effort on the front side end is going to help you in the long run. So, and there I'm just pressing those tails through there just like so. Now I wanted to add some of this. This is like a I can't even tell you. It's almost like a plasticky material or some type of a coated fabric mesh that is gold, and I thought, wow, for glam this is going to be stunning. Plus there's a lot of highlights in that deer that are bronze and gold, and I thought this would really make it look really nice. So I'm just going to loop this over back and forth, same process. Start on the outside, move inward. Now the difference here is I'm not going to use a measuring device on these. What I'm doing is looping them over so that it sits right on top of the other one. If you do that, then the little poof underneath is all you need to help measure. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'm going to go from the inside to the out. You can see me crossing over inside out in the same pattern that I did the ribbon and the deco mesh. And see here, this is where I ran out and I have a gap. So I'll show you what to do. Don't worry, this does happen sometime with wreath making, not a problem. I'm going to take the end of another piece and I'm just going to overlap them like so. Press it into that wire and then twist it tightly down. Now you have a continued length of ribbon. See? No problem. Continuing around, and we're almost done here. Once we get back to our starting place, we're going to make sure that it is twisted in tightly, and then you can just trim that piece off. You can tuck it under, whichever way you want to do it. Now we're going to start pulling these little poofs apart, and I'm going to alternate back and forth. I'm using the word alternate a lot. So we have the burlap, the deco mesh, and the gold mesh, right? In that loop, now we're going to do opposite. We're going to pull to the outside, the burlap piece, then the deco mesh, and then the gold. Then we're going to switch back to the original way. You see here, you see the little process. So you can see each color continue around just like this. And if you got those wrapped up tightly enough, you should be able to move these with no problem. They'll stay right where they need to stay. Continue around, fluff them out. You can see what a big difference and how much larger and thicker and more substantial this wreath is already, just pulling these layers apart. What do you think about these colors? I don't usually do like the gold, but this is really stunning together. I think it looks very elegant. So this is what it looks like when you get it all fluffed. Very pretty. I've chosen some greenery picks here. This is what we'll be using. But we're going to go ahead and cut our ribbons into 9 or 10 inch pieces here. I think I'm doing 10 inches, 9 inches. So because we have 18 and I have 3 different types, we're going to do 18 pieces of each ribbon. I did run out of that gold mesh up there, so I went ahead and substituted a sheer ribbon that has some gold wire on the edges, and you'll see that shortly. Go ahead and dovetail all of your ends to give it a nice, beautiful finished look. This is going to give it some texture. I'd also like to add at this point with these ribbons, it's really good to give yourself a lot of variety in your ribbons. Different textures, made of different materials. Wire always helps when you're making a wreath. It's not always necessary if you're using shorter pieces, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. So we're going to just layer these together, just like you saw me do, like an X and then one in the middle. And then you can move those around and decide which piece you want to be on top, which you want to do in the middle. And I thought maybe that brown and bronze piece looked better in the middle. Kind of separate those 2 gold pieces. You really won't be able to tell once it's placed down in the wreath though. I'm going to use these handy little clamps that came from Dollar Tree. I use these for wreath making all the time. So here's that other ribbon I was telling you about. It's got the little wired edge. And then here's the original ribbon. So I have 9 of each set. And we're just going to alternate them. So you're going to pull it out of the pick. It's just simply the little clip just holding it for you until you're able to get it where it needs to go. And you're going to pick your section, starting on the outside, and you're just going to press it straight down in the center and twist it with a couple of loops. Then you're going to have your ribbon bundle right where it needs to be. You can fluff it out now. You can wait to the end to fluff it. You can do a little here, a little there, whichever way you want to do it, as long as it gets done before you hang it up. Okay, so we're alternating now. We're taking that other type of bundle and putting it to the inside. So all the ones with the sheer will be on the outside. All the ones with that gold mesh will be on the inside. Continue around. Make sure that you're grabbing all of those pieces, that you get them all in there where they need to be. You can move that stuff around, you know, make sure you're finding it and placing it where it should be. And look how much more full it is already. Once it's fluffed up, it looks really, really nice. It is so high end. The results of this wreath even shocked me. So I hope that you stay to the end and you see this beautiful wreath. It's really got me rethinking the whole gold thing. Don't be concerned about those green pieces. They're a different color. I like it like that. I can tell exactly where I'm going, what I'm putting where. Those tinsel pieces will be wound back down into the frame or cut off, whichever way you want to do it. I'm going to use mine just as they are to hold down my greenery picks, so I'm not going to cut those off. I'm going to leave them just like they are. Continue all the way around. Fluff everything, touch everything, move everything around. Make sure you don't have any folded over pieces because sometimes they get jammed together. Just want to make it look pretty. Have intention with everything that you touch on your wreath. Just continue around. I know I'm not completely in your view there, but you get the idea. So I'm going to take these little pieces of greenery picks. I'm going to fold the stem on itself and twist it so that I have a little loop there. It just gives me a little something bigger to wrap around my wire so it won't slip out and I don't have to completely gob this thing down with a ton of glue. And hot glue can also damage your deco mesh, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so we're going to continue around. I think I had like 7 of these picks left over. I'm just trying to go through my stuff. If you have followed me for a while, then you have seen my wall of flowers, and the amount of stuff I have collected and not used is ridiculousness. So I'm trying to go through and use up a lot of things that I already have. And we're going to continue around here, just twisting and tucking in what we're not going to use, because I'm not going to be needing those pieces of tinseled pipe cleaner for anything else on the bottom of this wreath. So it's time to tuck those things away and be done with it. Just going to fluff those in. I'm going to leave 3 pipe cleaners on the top untouched because I'm going to need a place to put a bow, and I'm not sure where I want it yet. Now this is a pack of pine cone ornaments that came from Dollar General according to the packaging, and the person who donated all of the supplies to my channel, this was in that bunch of stuff. So I'm using it. I'm happy about that. I'm glad I'm getting to use those things. The 8,000 subscriber winner is aware. I've got her address, and her package will be going out today on Monday. So I'll be happy for her to get that. If you've received anything from my channel, please let me know that you have received it when you do receive it, because I just want to make sure that it gets to you timely and that it does arrive at the right place. I'm not a scammer. You know, I want to help you, and I want you to get your supplies quickly, so I ship it quickly to you. So just keep that in mind. Also, we're coming up to our 9,000 subscriber giveaway. It will be here before you know it, because I'm only a few away from 9,000. The goal for me before 2022 is to have 10,000 subscribers. So I would love for you to join if you enjoy this channel. I would love to have you here as part of our family. Moving right along, we're going to work on the bow. So we're going to just flip this bow over, and I'm going to do like a 10-inch bow, and this is so easy. You just flip this. This is just a scrap I had, you know. You maybe after Christmas you're running low on supplies. Go ahead and do what you can for your winter decor. Go ahead and use those pieces. So I'm just going to make a bow with this, just flipping it over, counting my little tails. I know that I want to have 2 loops on each side, and then of course there'll be little tiny tails that are on there, but they aren't a big deal because we're going to trim those down. You can leave them there. You can treat them however you want, but you'll see that in a minute. So here we go. So this is a little over 10 inches. It's 11 inches. Then I'm going to take this sheer striped ribbon that I have been using in the rest of the wreath. I'm going to fold it over. What did I do? 10 inches there. And I'm going to fold that over a few times. I think I end up with like 6 loops on this one. So fold it over several times. This one does not have any wire in it, but is a very good quality ribbon. I have no idea where it really originated from. Got it at a thrift store, so I do not know. And that's 10 inches. Gonna cut that off, put it aside. And then that Celebrate Holiday, is that a Hobby Lobby ribbon over there? I don't know if that brand is, where does that come from? Or it even could be Target, I don't even know. But I'm just going to use it too. It is wired. It is beautiful snowflakes with gold and bronze and kind of copper. Really, really pretty. And it's on like a brown, a rust colored background. Gorgeous. Okay, so now that we've got all of our bundles cut, we're just going to fold this in half, and then we're going to notch it. It's a really thick bow, and on really thick bows the notching helps tremendously. So we're just going to cut through the wire and just a little bit into the fabric. You can feel it with your scissors when you're cutting. I'm going to fold this one over. There's no wire, but I still want to make sure that it is able to be fluffed nicely along with the rest of the layers. So we're just going to do this for continuation. Folding this in half, we're finding the center, cutting through just a bit there. And then we're going to stack these pieces together. All right, I'll start off with jute. You're going to see a bow in just a second. This is why I don't like to use jute with bow making. Yeah. So anyway, we're going to go in the notches. I'm just slipping that straight down into the notches, like so. We're going to do it with the next set, just like that, and then with the ribbon that is underneath it. Okay, so now you're going to take your jute and tie it. I suggest a pipe cleaner, because let me show you what's going to happen when you try to pull it tightly. And this happens a lot. All right, so that first of all, you've got to use your hands and really hold it and try to make your ties without moving your finger, because as soon as you move your finger, it's going to slip out and it is not going to be as tight. So this is me attempting to keep it super tight. Holding it with my other thumb, trying to move the knot, and watch. Oh! But look, I recovered with a zip tie. That's right, a zip tie. Should have used it originally, but I didn't. Okay, so now I'm going to zip that around the middle. It's going to go right in the same notches that jute is underneath it. And then I'm going to clip it off. And you are not going to pull that thing loose. No, sir. So, how we flip the bow is to start on the bottom layers. The thickest bottom layer, we're going to pull those little loops out. This is very thin. You know, I keep saying burlap, but I believe that's like a linen blend. It's thin. It's very pretty though. And it's got just a light sprinkling of glitter or iridescence in it. It's really pretty. And you know how we do it from there. Start on the bottom, then you go up to the next row, and then we go to the top. And just pull it apart. Now this is where you can cut off the little tails that are left, or you can dovetail them like this. You can also cut them at a slant like this. Whichever way you want to do it. There's another little dovetail. Okay. If you're enjoying this video, I would love for you to give me a thumbs up. It really helps my channel, and it is so very honestly appreciated. Now we're going to start on the tail of the bow. So we're going to use this ruler, which is the 18-inch ruler. And then I'm going to just kind of grab that 18-inch mark and then fold it over on itself. So this is going to give us 36 inches. I will end up trimming this in the end, but to begin with, I wanted to make sure I had plenty. I'm going to do it again with this, so I have two pieces of this snowflake ribbon. And then I'm going to do it again and hit the camera with the gold. And now this one, I only have a tiny piece left, so I'm going to fold it in half, kind of crease it, and then cut right down the crease. So now I'm going to have a ribbon with this pattern. It's easy with this. It's another way to stretch that ribbon. I'm just going to pull it down and then let it overlap in the middle so that it's the same length as the other ribbons on the end. What of that trickery? Did you see that? You can do that too. And then when you cinch it together, it's not going to move. You can trim off the little pieces that are under there, but just be sure that you got it on there really tightly before you do that, or you will pull those two pieces that you put together completely out. So go ahead and cinch it, trim it up, and then this is what your tails are going to look like. We're going to go ahead and add them down. So the middle pipe cleaner on the top, I'm going to go ahead and press that down and twist it around. My little helper's down there to the right. He had his fingers in the screen if you saw that. Now I'm going to trim off these because I don't need it anymore. I could use it for the bow if I wanted to, but I'm going to attach the bow in a different way. You can go ahead and attach all your stuff together before you put it on the wreath if you want, but I didn't do it that way. So you can just weave this, since it's made out of wire, straight through the back of your bow, and now you have a way to attach your bow straight down on the wreath. And this also will let you have the bow up a little bit higher than the wreath level or sink down a little bit deeper into the wreath, whichever one you like. You can just twist that back, fluff that beautiful bow. I think a funky bow would be really pretty on this wreath too. But I didn't have enough wire, and it really needs to be wired ribbon for a funky bow. So I'm just pulling my tails out here and looking to see what I think I want to do, because keeping in mind we have to fit that deer in there somewhere. So we need to find a opening and a place where the deer can be seen. So I'm just going to trim up how I think this would look good here and there. And I do like this shorter, especially because there's going to be a deer in there, and I really want him to be noticed in this wreath, because you know I'm a rustic girl, so I prefer all of my rusticness. And I know that I want him right here. He does have a hole under his chest, which I don't show you there, but I knew that a dowel rod would fit, and that would be a perfect way for me to have him stand in there without gluing him onto anything. So it almost looked like he's leaping through the wreath and the greenery. So I've just poked it down into that wreath form. I just wove it. I know you can't see the bottom, and I do apologize for that. So I've put it underneath the top one and then underneath the bottom one. And it's just kind of just poked through there. Then I'm going to use the pipe cleaner and just catch it around both sides so that it doesn't shift back and forth, and add some hot glue to keep it still. And there he is leaping in the center of our wreath. Always, always, before you hang it, fluff it, put everything back where you want it to be, do your final critiquing and your final trimming, and then you'll be good to go. So here is my beautiful, elegant, rustic glam wreath. What do you think about this piece? Thank you so very much for stopping by and for watching. I appreciate you more than you know. Our family is growing, and I could not be more excited about that. This is so adorable. I got these ideas walking through, I think it was Bath and Body Works. So you can see all the supplies we're going to be using. I've got some picks. These are little salt and pepper shakers. And these jars came from Dollar Tree. Can you believe it? These canisters, they're really, really good. Hopefully you can find these at your store. There's a larger one and a smaller one. And just a second, I'm going to measure these for you, just to give you an idea. In case you don't find these, you can get a container that's close to that. Then I have some of this little miniature greenery stuff. Okay, so I'm going to use this satin nickel spray paint. I'm going to let those dry. I'm going to take this sheet of styrofoam, and it's about the same depth as the neck of my jar, so it's perfect. I'm just going to press down. I don't want to have to guess here. I want it to be a nice snug fit because I don't want to have to glue this in. And I'm just going to press down with both till I get to my tabletop. And I started off by using my metal ruler here just to kind of score it, cut some little lines in here so it would be easier to work with the pieces one at a time. Works really well for cutting things. And then I started by taking my ruler and just kind of cutting down in there, and then decided just to go up and down all around to get my circular shape. You can use whatever you want to use, but I had already cut my thumb. I did not want to have to get out a blade or anything else like that. Okay, so once it is popped out of its form there, you're just going to rub off the little edges. They'll be kind of fraying. And then we're going to cover those with a sheet of this faux, it's like a snow fabric or a batting material. But I got it a long time ago to use for my little snow village, my little winter village. So this is going to stick pretty well without any glue, so you really wouldn't have to use it. But just for security reasons, I went ahead and opened mine back up, sprayed a little bit, and then put them back down in the same shape. Now be sure that you have windows open, doors open, a fan going, or that you do this outside in a well-ventilated space. Now I'm going to put some on the top of these as well and take some of that snow. You can get it like a white, which is what I have. I didn't use my salt and snowflake mixture this time because I didn't want to have to deal with the mess of it. Alright, I'm just sorting through to see what I want to use, and I do have this pick that came off of something, I think from last year. And then so I've just cut it down and stuck it in the back, and I know that I want my little deer to go right there. So I'm going to hot glue him. On the bottom, it doesn't have shiny surface on the edges, so that's where you want to put your glue. And it will stick down without coming off. That's my experience anyway. And then another little pine pick I'm putting over here because I want it to look like he is in the woods. Deer like to bed down and be in a secure hidden spot, so I'm trying to kind of make him feel comfortable right there in his little home. So these little picks are really nice. I think when we grew up we called the tree a popcorn tree because the little seed pod would pop open like popcorn pops. So I think that's what these little white pieces are. That's what it reminds me of anyway. But they also kind of put you in the mind of a flower, and they're snowy. So I love the texture and the interest that it gives to this piece. I'm going to take some of my little snowy pine cones and just put them here and there, just like if you were doing an arrangement, you know, like a floral arrangement. Just put them in there and protect your fingers. You can definitely use your little silicone finger protectors for that. I do have an Amazon storefront, so if there's anything in my video that you need to learn about or know about, you can look it up on my Amazon store, and it is in my description box. So far so good. I'm liking my little deer. Don't be concerned with the little holes in his head because we are going to fix that. It's not going to be a problem. I'm going to do something really cool with that. And then you're just going to continue to put them around. I pick it up and put it down and look to see what I need to go where. And just like when we're doing wreaths and arrangements, pick it up, look at it from all angles, and decide what needs to go where. I do that quite a lot. Alright, just add them in here and there. Make sure that you do not go past the edges of your little cap because you're going to have to squeeze the little surface here back into the jar. So you don't want to extend past your edges. Leave everything in the center on the top. Okay, so these little berries came off of the little garland, the little pitberry garland, whatever. And you can pull them off the wire and cut them. And I decided to use these to make him look like a little buck. When deer are babies, when they get older, obviously, they start to grow little nubs on their head before they become horns. So now we have a little nubbin buck. Isn't he cute? Okay, so now we have to assemble everything with our snow globes. And I'm just trying to get an idea of what pieces I want to go where. And I know that I want the top to actually be the bottom now. So I'm going to start by taking my small jar and the deer, who is smaller, and I'm just going to press it up into the neck or the mouth of that jar. Press it, press it, press it. And I do have one of my branch tips a little bit bent over, but I am not bothered by that one little bit. Everything doesn't grow straight in nature, so who knows how it would have gone if it would have just been plunked down by the wind. So there you go. Very cute. Now we need to cover the top. We don't want that to show, and it's got a dimple in it like the bottom of a jar normally has, and it's kind of ugly. We're going to need to cover that up. Plus, if it's going to be a candle holder, we need a flat surface to put there. So we're going to go around with a little bit of fix-all glue and the hot glue in between. You got to work really quick after you put the hot glue on because it dries fast on glass and on metal. And there you go. This is going to be our top and our bottom, and I think it looks great. Now we're going to take some of this trim. It's kind of fuzzy, sparkly little rope trim. And then I'm going to cut a piece of greenery down. It's just cutting off little pieces so I have something to grab onto with the rope. Just trimming it. Now I have a little stem to attach it. And I can put it right underneath that knot. Put a little bit of hot glue there to make sure nothing comes off. And then I can just tie it in there. I don't want anything to fall apart. Okay, so there we go. I'm tying this down Very simple. You could hot glue it if you wanted to. And you could certainly use a different type. You could use jute or anything you want on the top, but I thought this would be appropriate for Winter Wonderland because it's sparkly. So now we have one piece of our pick. I'm going to add another one of these little pods, and I'm going to add another little pine cone. Just like that. Isn't he adorable? I love it. The next one is the resting deer. I think you're going to like it. Again, we're going to have some ribbons here. Ribbons that coordinate with what we have. I've got some little picks. Had them for years. I usually use them in decorating. These I used in another project. You can see where I put them together with some little branch pieces. And then another stem of that same greenery. I've got this beautiful little deer that I got at Dirt Cheap. And if you're familiar with Dirt Cheap, you see you can sometimes they're damaged, sometimes they're, but if you get them on a really good deal, it's worth it. You're not going to see the damage on the deer the way I fix it. And then this piece, I think this was given to me by somebody, but I don't think I thrifted it myself. Now, I don't want to put moss on here, but you certainly could. I'm going to cover this with just some green paint. Doesn't really matter. If I had dark green, I would have used it. You're really not going to see it. I just wanted to cover up the wood color on the top. I'm going to use some double stick mounting tape. You can get alien tape. You can get whatever you want to use here, or you can just use hot glue. But if I do it this way, I can take that deer off and use him again. So I'm just putting it sort of at an angle, but you see how well this holds? It works very well. I'll pluck this branch apart like I did the rest of them and just pull it into pieces. And I kind of like to look and see if I'm doing more snowy, then I want to have more snowy pieces together. If I'm doing more that are just green, I like to have just the green together, if that makes sense. It just seems to have more of a smooth look. So I'm going to go around and make this look almost as if this deer is resting in the wintertime. He's resting in a little hidden place because that's what deer like to do. They don't lay right out in the open. They like to kind of put themselves where they're protected. So that's what this little deer is doing. He is hiding right there in this evergreen. I'm going to put just pieces here and there. I start off going in one direction, but you can, if you have pieces that you want to stand up, you can do it that way. If you have pieces that are on a pick and you want to lift that deer up to make it higher, you can put it on some foam and then you can press your pieces into the foam. But these are like a plastic. They don't have a hard pick. I would have to add picks to them. So I just want to show you an option in case you don't have that. But you see how the deer is just kind of, it looks like he's just laying there in the branches, and I love that. I think it's very pretty, and I love that deep dark green on this deer. That's why I got this deer. I was like, I have to have that. He's gonna look beautiful in my room. Gotta have him. So this piece of wood worked out, and the greenery, everything just worked out perfectly for this little deer. If you don't have one, maybe you have a deer that's white, or you get your little deer from Dollar Tree, you can spray paint it, or you can chalk paint it. You can change things up with paint. It'll really make a big difference. And one can of spray paint goes a pretty long way when you craft with it. All right, so I've taken some little bits and pieces off of the other picks that I had, and I'm going to use those here and there. I like that this, I think it's like a Dusty Miller or a lamb's ear. It's very similar to the velvet that is on the deer, and that beautiful bluish color that is in that green just looks so pretty with this, I think. You could, of course, stop here if you would like, but I'm going to add some more to it because we want to have a snack available for the deer. We're going to have some berries. I'm going to put these little berry branches right next to the lighter green foliage that we have, and just add a little hot glue and it'll stay in place just here and there. There's really no pattern to the way I'm doing this, but they're like little clusters here and there. So pretty. Oh, I hope you like him as much as I do. I really love this little deer. And all of these projects that I'm doing today are not difficult projects at all to do. One takes a little more time, but they're really not complicated. Okay, so now I have some of this beautiful, rich, deep wine colored ribbon. It's like a wine or a burgundy. And I'm just going to wrap it around the deer's neck and make the same bow that we made before for the other project that we finished. And I'm just going to tie this around his neck. It is so rich and elegant. I can just really see this on a table with some candles around it. And y'all, the way I'm calling these centerpieces, these are not big swag-like centerpieces. These are smaller. I personally have a very old farmhouse table that is round. You can open it with leaves. You can add 2 leaves to it, but for now, it's round all the time, year round. So I can put in the middle of that something small and round and still have room on the table to serve meals when we want to eat. I love the way that this turned out. So if you've got a smaller table, you don't want to take up as much space, this is going to be perfect. And I'm looking forward to the next year being a very good year where we learn all kinds of good things about each other and where the channel grows to the point where I'm bringing you all kinds of new ideas. I appreciate every kind comment, every extra tip, every bit of information that you give me to help me. Lantern swag. Now, I got this lantern. It was gifted to me, actually, from a lady who was moving, and she had a bunch of boxes of decor pieces, and she gave them to me. This one happened to still be working beautifully. It looks like it was barely touched. There's no dust on it. It's clean. It looks great. You can also thrift these or buy them. It's about 16 inches by maybe 8 inches. To give you an idea, I've got a deer pick in gold. Very pretty. 2 of these pieces of branches from Temu, and then I have a pick that I got at the thrift store. It's a little squished, but you can fluff these up and bring them back to life. Just, turn everything around, make sure the front of the leaves are forward, space them out a little bit, and then fluff the flower out. Look how beautiful. It's got gold in the middle. I'm going to grab a couple of different ribbons. I got some wide, some thin, some are linen, and some are burlap. Look at this one. This one is very pretty. My husband ordered this for me on Amazon, I do believe. All right, so this is how I decide how long I want my swag to be. I'm going to go ahead and lay my base pieces together and then put them on the lantern in a way that I would like for them to be once I get my little swag part together, so that it's on the top a little bit, but more of it hangs toward the bottom. So I'm just going to take the little wire that's already in there and wrap it around just to give it its first little way to connect it. Trim off anything that sticks out. Then if it's not solid enough, you can go ahead with some floral wire and reinforce it so that everything stays in place, because once you put the flower on and we add a bow, we're going to need to fluff, and we don't want anything to fall apart. So I'm just going to wind this around, make sure the little pokey ends are flat, because if you're giving this as a gift, you certainly do not want to also give them a bill for bandages for poking holes in their fingers on Christmas Day. Right? Right. Okay, now I'm just going to hang this on here how I think it would look good. Someone had already put a little twist in the end, and it worked great as a little hanger on my piece of branch. I'll take some more floral wire and connect these together. Now, if you want to use pipe cleaners, you can. If you want to use zip ties, you can. Now, I'm getting an idea. Is it going to stay there long enough? I'm going to add more to it. How am I going to arrange this flower? I'm just going to move it around a little bit to see what is pleasing to the eye. This is like a velvet texture on this beautiful poinsettia. It's really rich and beautiful. Then I'll take that gold deer and just push him down where they're already wound together. It happens to be on a pick, so you can actually, it's like a metal piece. You can actually reposition that, bend it so it leans forward. And that's what I want to do so that there's no gap between the back of that flower and the branches. I want the deer to stand out a little bit. Now the piece of pick that this is on is very stiff. There's no way I'm going to wind that around. So I'm just going to take some floral wire, make a little hook out of it so it goes through easily. And then I will start twisting that in place with that. I just kind of keep my hand on it until I feel like it's caught in there. Then you can reposition it a little bit and add some hot glue, cut off edges. You know how you do it. Make sure everything is beautiful and secure. Especially when gift giving, you want to make sure that this is going to hold up. Now what I have is Gorilla Glue, but you can certainly use something else like E6000 to keep everything in place for years to come. Moving on down that swag branch, I'm going to add another piece to hold that pick from the deer in place. But you could always cut it off if you wanted to. It just gives it a little more stability, so I'm going to leave it. I'll cut off the edges, make sure that the twisted part is pushed inward so no one cuts their fingers, because after Christmas they could remove the swag and use that lantern in another way. Now I want to make a bow, but if that's not your thing, it's totally okay. I'm going to stretch out these two pieces and decide what I want to do for a bow. So at the 18-inch mark here, I'm just going to put my finger down so I know where my length is, and I'm going to fold it over so that we have a 9-inch loop. I'm going to fold again because we already have that measurement. We don't have to use the ruler again. Just keep folding until you get 2 loops on the left, 2 loops on the right, and you can just look to make sure. I'm not going to put tails on this part yet. We're going to do separate tails, so I'm just going to cut it off. I'll take the next ribbon and we're going to go down to 16 inches for this one. Grab that spot, fold it over, and we're going to make 8-inch loops. Same process, fold and fold and fold until you get 2 loops on each side, and trim that down. Okay, I'm just going to put those together so I get an idea and it looks good. Going to go down another 2 inches to 14, and we're going to make some loops with that burlap. Same thing, 2 on each side. This is not a difficult bow, y'all, and you can definitely use scraps if you want to use scraps to make this. I'll cut that off, and then I'll take the smallest ribbon. There's some similar to this at Dollar Tree. We're going to go down to 12 inches, which will make 6-inch loops. And in this one, we're going to do going to wrap it and wrap it and wrap it. I did 4 where there were 2 on each side, and then I cut 1 in half because I wanted to make it be 3. So totally up to you. You can do 1 loop on one side and 2 on the other. Just spare your time. I'm going to stack these up almost like a little pyramid. Everything's centered, and then I will use a zip tie. I'm going to put it on top, flip it over, and then feed this through. Now right before I cinch it all the way down, I'm going to pleat it just slightly with my hands and then squeeze it very tightly. We'll trim off the excess. Then I'm going to take a thin piece of floral wire and feed underneath there because, as usual, I did not put anything to attach it to on there before we put on the zip tie. But a thin piece of floral wire will get right down in there easily for you. So don't worry if you forget. I always forget. Okay, so to make the tails, I am going to go with 18 and 4, which makes 22 inches. So we will have a 22-inch tail here. I'm going to take the next piece of ribbon and go down by about 2 inches, and we're going to step down just like we did with the bow. See, I've moved the ruler, and now I'm just going by my eye. And then again. We got all 4 pieces. I'm going to stack those in the exact same way that we did with the bow, the same pattern. I love the different textures all together and the different prints and some solid in there. I think it looks very nice, very woodland, and very on point for the style that, you know, most people are going for, seems to be going for this holiday season. Loving the woodland look. All right, so I bent it so I would see right where my crease was in the middle, and then I'm going to take a zip tie, go around that middle, make sure everything didn't, you know, make sure it's all there, not slipped out of place, and then I'm going to cut that part off. I'm just going to flex and bend it in half. Then I can attach it with the same piece of floral wire that's on the middle of the bow. Okay, now you can draw a little bit of attention to the bow tails and cut those as slants, or you may dovetail them if you would like. I just like a little something done to the tails rather than leaving them raw and blunt. Then I'll get my placement back. I can bend a little bit because we still have the wire that's down the length of here. Then I'm going to take a piece of floral wire to attach that down. And I'm just going to do it right around the neck part, or you could call this the top part, wherever you want to put it, as long as it's attached. And then I'm pushing the little ends down so that, again, no poked fingers. And then you can fluff and you can arrange a little bit till it gets to be the way you like it. Then I'm going to grab that bow we made and attach it down with the same piece of wire that we had left that we connected all of our elements together with. So I'll pull it tight and then twist it around and lock it in place. Then we're going to start fluffing our bow, and you'll need to stay tuned to the end of the video to see how it looks once it is all fluffed out and the light is lit and it is ready to be presented as a gift to a loved one. You can do this, remember, with thrifted items, with scraps. Maybe you have a lantern in your house, it's not your style anymore, but maybe that would be perfect to make for Christmas to give to somebody that you love, and you'll save a lot of money doing it. To still be generous in the holiday season. Look at the beautiful lantern. If you don't like those colors, you can certainly change it to whatever